You're listening to the AAF Analyzed podcast with your hosts, Derek Heid and Garrett Lay.
Hello everyone, and thank you for listening to AAF Analyzed. I am your host, Derek Heid. Alongside me, Garrett Lay. Garrett, why don't you go and introduce yourself?
I'm Garrett Lay. I attend the University of Pittsburgh here. Derek, you of course are up at Penn State, so we're trying something new.
Absolutely.
We're over the phone podcasting, which is sure to have its challenges, but I think it's going to be fun.
Definitely.
I'm studying neuroscience here at Pitt. I'm a freshman. Derek, go ahead.
I am a major in broadcast journalism, trying to do this sort of thing, talking about sports for a living, and trying to see where we can get from here. Just kind of starting off for fun, talking about some AAF football, the newest craze. That's right, spring football in the U.S. instead of abroad.
I'm super excited about it. That's really all I have to say. And I think AAF Analyzed, I think it's going to be the perfect way for us to raise awareness for this pretty awesome league.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you there. Perfect, actually. So without further ado, let's get right into the AAF. And it's just kind of spring football. We're bringing it to the table. It's the first thing of its kind since the XFL way back in the day. And it's just football beyond the NFL season. I don't know what else could get you more excited. If you love the NFL and you're sad that it ends in February with the Super Bowl, why wouldn't you want to watch more in the spring?
Like, what a lot of people might be wondering, I know we were talking to some friends about the AAF, and they were like, how's it different from the NFL, and like, why should I watch it? Because these guys aren't actually NFL players. And I mean, my argument was they are, or they were, or they're certainly NFL caliber. They're playing in the CFL. They're playing in other leagues around the country, smaller leagues, much smaller leagues.
Yeah.
And these guys are really talented players. There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that in the minds of any of the coaches either when they're watching these guys. They see athletic excellence on the practice field. I mean, they just started training camp. Their first full day of pads was just today. And even the coaches are really excited about it. And they have some huge names behind the AAF too, which really helps me put some trust into the league and where it's going to go. I mean, they have Bill Polian. He was a great executive for the Bills. Me being a Bills fan myself, I'm super excited about that. Of course, Troy Polamalu here in Pittsburgh. Hines Ward's also involved. Justin Tuck, Jared Allen. There are huge names involved in this. Mike Singletary's a coach. He's a coach for the Memphis Express.
Yeah, exactly.
These are really big football guys. These guys know football. And if they didn't think this was something to get behind, they wouldn't. But they did. And that's why I think this could be really an excellent program.
Yeah, you talked about the personnel, the really big names there. I was showing it to my dad. Of course, he was really interested with some of the really great coaches that they have. A lot of the big things now is the College Football Hall of Fame induction actually just happened. And I believe there's now 4 people from the AAF in there. Troy Polamalu just got inducted this year, as well as Salt Lake Stallions head coach Dennis Erickson. He just got inducted, and Mike Singletary, the Memphis Express coach, is already in there, and Steve Spurrier of the Orlando Apollos is also in the College Football Hall of Fame. So these are some great coaches they're bringing in. And another thing that I'm really interested in, it's not just the personnel, it's that they really have good players. Like, these are people that I almost guarantee NFL fans have heard of. Like, people like Trent Richardson, obviously a top 5 pick. He didn't fare so well in the NFL, but he's here. Christian Hackenberg, big Penn State player. Zach Mettenberger, Zach Stacy, the fantasy god for 1 year. Garrett Gilbert, Josh Johnson, who just got picked up by the Redskins and probably won't play in the AAF this year, and Bishop Sankey. But these are some quality football players. It's not going to be some bad league that people are kind of almost thinking that it would be, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's not going to be a bad league at all. And I mean, Charlie Ebersol, he's the co-founder along with Bill Polian. Mm-hmm. He's a great mind, and I really like what he's thinking for this league as a league of like giving these guys second chances and getting a shot at playing back in the NFL again. Mm-hmm. And I really think what he brings to the table with like the ideas for the app and things like that, they're going to come out for the AAF, because I know that's going to come out pretty soon. And with like the integrated fantasy and all that kind of stuff, I think it's really going to get fans engaged in the AAF. And that's another really cool thing about the AAF is just how much engagement they're looking for fans and how much they're offering fans to engage with the players.
Yeah, I feel like this could, and most certainly, I'm going to put it out there, I think it most certainly will be the first successful spring football league to happen in the U.S. Of course, there was that world experiment many years back that was okay, but the NFL folded it. But I think this one could be one of a kind.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I want to get into like a little bit of like why we're doing this, why we chose like the AAF to bring attention to, and not only because it's a good opportunity for us, this being like our first shot at podcasting and things like that, and really wanting to get our voices out there, but I think I was reading some articles, and I know you were reading some articles too, from the AAF website, and a ton of the players, they're just talking about how grateful they are that this league is now a thing, that they're going to be able to get out there and play again. Like this guy Nelson, he's a receiver for the Hot Shots. I think he was let go from the New Orleans Saints at the beginning of the season, and he just talked about how he really couldn't bring himself to hang up his cleats after getting cut from the Saints. And just he talks about the fact that he gets to put on a helmet again and get out there with a team and play football, a game that once you fall in love with it, you are in love with it forever.
Yeah, I think it's
just an amazing opportunity.
Yeah, I think the whole second chance thing is definitely a great thing. People who NFL fans would say flopped in the industry are still fantastic athletes and still have something to prove. Maybe there was something in their game that whenever they were a rookie caused them to fall out. But maybe now that they're 26, they recognize that they're 27 and that they're going to help improve that. They worked upon that, and now they feel that they're NFL ready, but there's nowhere to showcase your talent like that until now with the AAF.
Yeah, and I really like this quote from Bill Polian. He says, "Whether you're here for the first time, your first crack at professional football, or whether this is your second chance, we exist to give you that chance. The reason we are all involved in this is because we want to give you the opportunity to get a Super Bowl ring, to make it back to the league and have a good career."
Yeah,
that was his opening for training camp.
I feel like that's definitely probably the best part about this league is the fact that they're not trying to compete with the NFL. They're trying to coexist with it, and I feel like it's almost like they're accepting that they are kind of with the NFL and that the players in their league, their goal is to get there. Like another quote that I have back in December, the Hot Shots head coach, Neuheisel, he said the aim is for himself, his coaching staff, and his players to graduate from the Alliance to the NFL. And I just think using that word graduate really feels like it sets the AAF's place and what kind of professional football it is and really what the goals are for the players in their league still.
Yeah, well, one thing when I watched like the AAF introduction video, Charlie said what's really important is the reason why things like the XFL failed is because they tried to compete with the NFL.
Yeah.
And that's not going to work. Competing with the NFL is never going to work. The NFL is huge. People love it. People watch it every Sunday. The market for football, particularly NFL football, is absolutely massive. So really all they're trying to do, they're trying to just be a companion to the NFL, give these guys a chance to play football again. And it's going to be high-level football too. There's no doubt about that in my mind.
Yeah.
These guys are really talented. They're still cutting down a 75-man roster to 50 or 52, something like that.
I believe it's 52.
52, yeah. 52-man roster by the end of training camp. So they are going to be the best of what's available.
Yeah. Another article I was reading, San Antonio Commanders GM Daryl Johnston, he said, obviously first game, February 9th on CBS, major sports network, and he said, come out on February 9th and you'll see the type of football player that exists and that isn't on an NFL roster. There's some very, very talented young men that play this game that are going to be in our league, and I really think that you're going to be impressed. That's a quote from Daryl Johnson, and quite frankly, I think that the fans who are doubting the league will also be pretty impressed with the kind of quality that there is to show.
I think they will. I'm highly encouraging anyone to tune into that game on February 9th.
Absolutely.
It plays perfectly right after the Super Bowl. Season ends right before the draft, so there's literally no conflict with the NFL at all. So just going to give you great football in the time when you want it most, when there's no football around.
Yeah, that game is, of course, Atlanta playing Orlando in Orlando. Going to be a great game. Mike Vick is the offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Legends, and quite frankly, that's just going to be another reason to watch, if you ask me.
Yeah, really. And I think another mention I have on like opportunities is Charlie talked about this in the opening video, and it's giving all sorts of people opportunities. I think it's awesome. There was a big article that talked about some of the 3 female coaches that are going to be part of the AAF. Dr. Jen Welter for the Atlanta Legends, Jennifer King for the Arizona Hotshots, and Lil Locust for the Birmingham Iron. And Phil Savage said about King that bringing her aboard was a no-brainer. Phil is the general manager for the Arizona Hotshots. He already has medical trainer Sarah Johnson and strength and conditioning staffer Kate Engert on board. But his philosophy, like all ours should be, is our philosophy is to find the best people regardless of gender, Savage said. We're proud to not only have Jennifer, but Sarah and Kate as part of our team for this inaugural Alliance season. So I just think it's super exciting that all of these people are getting opportunities to prove themselves on a football field, one of the best proving grounds there is in America today.
Yeah, definitely. If you look at this, it's almost going to be kind of a way to set a standard for the NFL, where they can try new things in the AAF, see if they work there, and then maybe implement them in the NFL later, like such as the new rules. Like the AAF won't have kickoffs, they won't have extra points, and maybe we'll see a change like that in the NFL at some point because it's so successful in the AAF. It's almost like the testing grounds, and I think it's got a ton of potential.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be super fun for fans to engage with, fun to watch football again. I can't wait to distract myself from the stresses of every day with worrying about my fantasy football team instead of my schoolwork or the essay that's due.
Don't worry, there's still fantasy in the AAF, though.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm excited about. I'm excited to distract myself from the everyday worries with worrying about fantasy football instead. So, of course, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of really what makes the AAF different from the NFL, like you were talking about the rules a little bit. We'll get into that with our season preview, which is going to be coming up probably in the next 2 weeks or so. But I just want to end saying, like, this is a really, really cool thing that Charlie and Bill Polian started. And I think that it's our job to really get it out there. And I hope that people continue to listen and people continue to read up on the AAF and watch when it comes to CBS on February 9th. And I know CBS Sports is picking up, I think it's at least 1 game a week. And then all of the games will stream free in the app, which is an amazing thing because finding NFL games to watch is always hard because you can only get the ones in your area. But for the AAF, it's all going to be free right there for the fans. Yeah. And I think that's what's really important, giving opportunity both to players, coaches, and fans.
Yeah, absolutely. Plenty of great stuff to come. AAF already has a ton of fans, including Carolina Panthers head coach Ron Rivera, LSU Tigers, and UCF Knights from the Fiesta Bowl this year for NCAA football were both interviewed about it. They were all very excited about the notion of the AAF being a thing. And it's just a great thing. There's plenty of great stuff for us to talk about in our next episode. We're doing a whole season preview, breaking down each individual team, kind of what we think is going on, major stories from training camp, what is the AAF. Plenty of great stuff to come, and I highly encourage you to stick with us and wait for it then.
All right.
And that's about all we have for episode 0 of AAF Analyzed. We hope that you can tune in with us for our next episode, which would be episode 1. And just stay tuned. Follow us on Twitter at AAF Analyzed. And check us out on our other platforms.
Peace out and play football.
I like that.
That's what we're going with, I think. That's what we'll go with. Peace out and play football. Let's go.
Thank you for listening to the AAF Analyzed podcast. Follow the show on Twitter at AAF Analyzed and feel free to contact the show to have your questions featured on a future episode. And don't forget to check out the show on all other platforms such as iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube.